First Love Yourself, where love, life, and Christ combine. I am so grateful to have you here on this journey of self discovery and empowerment with me. In today's video, we are going to talk about catching, I was going to say catch and release, letting go or keeping. So, releasing or keeping. But before we get started, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. That's at Trinesha Catrell on YouTube. So, get comfortable because we are about to get into it. Let's go. Okay, so this season, God has been teaching me a lot about myself. I mean, He's been reading me like right to left. Like, I can't even pretend like He just tiptoed around my feelings and was like, oh no, it's going to be okay. He was like, no, this is how it's got to go down. This is what I need you to do, period. Like, don't even ask me no questions about it. Like, it is what it is. And so I was like, oh, okay. Like, what am I going to say? It's God, right? So I either am obedient or I disobey Him. So I chose to be obedient because I don't want that smoke. And so, and so, as God indulges me in all of the things, the plans that He has for me, the plans to prosper me and not to harm me, I have really been trying to think about what's more beneficial for God and not just myself. And I would like to pretend like I came to that realization on my own and I was just like, oh yeah, I'm living for God all day, every day. Like, I went really hard for God in September and then I kind of lost my way. And when I say I lost my way, I wasn't like doing all the wrong things. I made like a choice that I was thinking was beneficial for me, but I never verified with God if that was beneficial for the kingdom. And sometimes in life, we really want these things, but we forget to check with God for discernment. We forget to check with God for approval to see if that's actually where He wants to lead us on our journey in life. And everything that's good to you is not good for you. And sometimes for me, that's the most confusing thing because I'm like, okay, if it's good, this person is nice. If this job pays well, if this thing looks good, then why is it harmful to my life? And I know we like to paint this black and white picture like, oh, it's got to be all evil or all good, or it's got to be all bad or all good. But there could be a perfectly good job that is not something that is going to be evil, but it could be a job that's going to distract you from your purpose. It's not going to give you time to work on your purpose work. It's not going to give you time to spend with God. It's not going to give you time to go to church or Bible study or to be serving in the way that God intends. And although it pays good money, your focus is going to be on the wrong thing. So instead of you moving forward faster, you are going to be stagnant in your life because of this good job. And it's nothing wrong with the job. It's taking your focus. It's taking your time away from building your relationship with God. Those things are also necessary. And sometimes we want it to look so bad, like, oh, it's got to be this job that just is a whole bunch of mean people there and they just don't treat you right. No, this job could treat you right, but God could be nowhere in it. And because God's not in it, you don't have the peace of God that surpasses all understanding. And so sometimes we really have to take a step back and say, okay, is this beneficial for God or is this just beneficial for me? Because if it's only beneficial for you, that's probably not a God decision. If God is agreeing with everything that you say, this isn't my saying, this is from a pastor, but if God is agreeing with everything that you're saying, then you're probably living for yourself, not God. Because God is going to go against most of the things that you say because you're going to be uncomfortable. Nothing amazing happens in the comfort zone. If you want to grow, if you want to be better, if you want to evolve, if you're trying to be that person, then you're going to have to get uncomfortable. You're going to have to work out hard and break all these muscles to really be able to be toned if you're trying to work out to get in shape or if you're trying to build muscle or whatever else. If you want to expand your knowledge, you're not just going to keep reading the same sentences over and over again. You're going to build knowledge by reading more books. You're going to go more places to be more. You're going to go to expand your horizon, to learn more, to be more cultured, everything else. So in order to do that, you're going to be in uncomfortable zones. You're not going to be just sitting stagnant in a comfortable zone. When you are trying to grow your business, you're not just going to know all the answers. You're going to have to learn and lose and fail in some areas, and it's going to be uncomfortable. But if you want to grow, if you're trying to be a millionaire, if you're trying to make this money, you're going to have to learn better ways to use e-commerce. You might have to be able to use AI. You might have to take some courses to learn how to have better communication skills, and maybe read the book by Dale Carnegie called How to Win Friends and Influence People. You're going to have to learn all of these things to expand your intellect so that you'll be able to be more verbally sound, so that your vocabulary will be more your vernacular will be spectacular, And so if you're trying to become a better person, it's going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to know all the answers. You're not going to know everything. You're not going to be perfect in everything. You're going to be learning. And it does not always feel great, because some people like to say, well, I feel comfortable because I know everything. The people who say that they know everything scare me, because I'm like, I don't ever want to get to a place in my life where I know all the answers, where somebody asks me something and I'd be like, oh yeah, I know this, I know that, I know this. No, I don't know everything. I want to learn as much as I possibly can in my life. I don't care if I'm 99 and a half. I still want to be learning. And I don't ever want to get to a point where I feel like I'm so old. I know everything, because nobody knows everything. Even a genius doesn't know how to have emotional intelligence. They just don't. And they may be learning. That's something that we could all learn. Another skill is how to be more better in whatever area it is in our lives. So, as I was talking to my friend, and she was asking me questions about my life. I was telling her about all these things, and we were just catching up because we had known each other for a long time, but we hadn't seen each other because she moved away, and then she just recently moved back. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is all God. Well, it was verified later. It was all God. But I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And so she told me like it was. Like, when I tell you, I was like, whew, I needed to hear all of that. I really, really did. And so she was asking me questions about stuff, and I was like, yeah, I just feel like I'm doing this and that, but I'm not really doing everything. And I don't know about this and I don't know about that. But I'm usually trusting God, and in this moment I'm feeling like my faith is wavering, and that's just me being transparent, because a lot of people that's Christian, a lot of people that are religious, like to try to pretend like they don't never have that moment of weakness. They don't ever fall short of the glory of God. They don't never have a moment where they don't have it all together. And I'm gonna be the first to say I make mistakes every single day. I am not perfect at all, but I'm always willing to try to be a better person, no matter what. I don't care how many times I fall. I don't care how many mistakes I make. I don't care how messy I look. I'm here to please God. I'm not here to please people. And so if I look a mess, it's going to glorify God. If I look like I don't have it all together, it's going to glorify God. If I look like I'm making a bunch of mistakes, in the end, I'm going to win, because every single mistake that I've made, every single failure, every single misstep is building me to be a better person. And I'm going to use everything. I want God to use it all. I'm trying to come out the way that God intended for me to come out. And so I think it's important for us to really ask ourselves in this season, are we doing it for ourselves, or are we doing it for God? When I was talking to my friend, I mentioned I like 1,200 times. I'm over exaggerating, but I really did mention it a lot. And she was like, I hear a lot of I, but is this what God wants? Because it might look good, but God might be protecting you. And not only that, but as I was spending moments with God, God was telling me, even though this thing is good to you, it doesn't mean it's good for you. Not only that, but did you get my blessing on it? And even though you like it, is it going to be beneficial for the other people in your life? Is it going to be beneficial for your daughter? Is it going to be beneficial for your success in your business? Is this something that's going to hinder your growth? Is it going to make you lose your focus? Like, what is it bearing fruit in your life? If the answer is no, if it's not glorifying the kingdom, if it's not bearing fruit, then you need to let those things go in your life. And it's not going to be easy. I'm going to be the first person that sits here and tells you it's not going to be easy, because people like to pretend as if it's super easy to let things go, to let go of a really great job that pays all your bills. Oh, God just told you to let it go. It's so easy. No, it's not. Like, this money is paying your bills. No, God is paying your bills for real. And in essence, God really is paying your bills. And so it's important for you to realize, okay, I can't just rely on the job more than I rely on God, when God can always send you another job. and only do it if God is telling you to do it. Don't just be like, oh, well, I just don't like this person at work, let me go ahead and quit. Like, nah. Don't quit. Really, really use discernment. Really, really check with God and see if this is what He intends for you to do in your life, so that you could stay on the right path, so that you can make sure that you have the confidence that you need to go out on faith. Because if God, when I feel the most insecure when God's not in it, when God is not in my relationship, when God is not in my friendship, when God is not in my job, I feel like, oh my gosh, can I do this? Really? Can I? I second guess myself and everything. And that's just me being real. But when God is there, I'm like, listen, I might not know the answer, but I'm going to find out. I might not know this thing, but you know what? I'm fine. When God's like, okay, this is going to teach you something, or this is somebody for life, I'm like, all right, I don't care what anybody else is doing. I know what I got to do. So I'm going to make sure that I focus on me and just be the best version of myself. And that's where my confidence comes from. It comes from God. It doesn't come from because my skin is glowy. The glow is because of the peace of God that surpasses all understanding. The glow is because no matter what circumstance I'm in, I always have contentment because God is working it out in the background. I know He'll use everything, good, bad, or indifferent. So I'm going to be fine. And so as you're going through this season, make sure you really check with yourself and see, is this something that I need to release or something that I need to keep? Check with God. If God is saying, okay, keep this person because it's going to allow you to be able to see things that maybe you missed. Maybe I'm trying to use this person to tell you things that will help you grow and become a better person in your life. Maybe I will use this job because they need somebody inspirational there so that people can continue to feel encouraged even when on their worst days, so they don't just feel down in the dumps and alone, because you have this way of making people feel safe and seen. Maybe you need to keep this thing because it's going to be the thing that pushes you to the next level. Maybe you need to keep your Judas because it's going to be the thing that gets you to the glory. Maybe you need to keep this adversity because it's going to be that thorn in the flesh that keeps you humble. Things like that in your life are things that should be kept. The things that you should be released is anything that's not bearing fruit and anything that's not glorifying the kingdom or helping you develop. So as you go through the season and into the next year, I hope and pray that you ask yourself, is this going to be beneficial for God? Not just I want twins, not just I want to get married, not just I want to be on a yacht, not just I want to be in this type of car, not just I want this house, this car, this person, this place, this thing, and I. How about taking a moment and say, okay, God, this is the plans that I have in my life, and see if He blesses it or if He tells you to change it. And if He wants you to change it, look over the things and see how beneficial God's changes will be to your life. You might not see it right away, but your obedience will always be blessed. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing Merry Christmas and you spent it with the people that you love and you cherished every single moment, because you really don't know how much time you have. And if it had not been for God, where would I be? If it had not been for God placing people in my life who have helped me through different seasons, I don't know how I would have made it. And I'm just so grateful and thankful for every person who supported me, every person who has been a part of my life, every person who has been there encouraging me or giving me a kick in the behind so I can make sure I get it together. Because I'm not going to pretend like I need soft love. I'm the type of person that likes people being straight up with me. Like, I would prefer honesty over protecting my feelings any day. Because in the end, if someone tries to protect my feelings and they don't say something that is necessary, I feel like they don't really love me. Just kidding. No. No, but I feel like people that really love you will respectfully tell you the truth. Not in a, I'm trying to crush your spirit and make you feel like crap, but in a, this is tough love. Like, I want you to know the truth because I care about you and I want you to be better kind of way. So cherish your life, live it to the best. Like, if every day that you wake up is your last day, how would you live that day? Live your life like that going forward, because I promise you won't regret it. You don't want to be on a sick bed talking about, I wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda. You want to make sure that you're doing it right now. You want to make sure that you're living your life right now and appreciating every single person. Make sure your heart posture is good and that you're pouring into the people who need it. Everybody needs some sort of inspiration, encouragement. Everybody needs help. Nobody does it alone. So I pray that you are blessed and that you continue to walk by faith and not by sight, that you continue to not lean not on your own understanding, but to lean on the understanding of God by knowing that He is always doing what's more beneficial for your life. To know that you are exactly where you need to be. Everything that you're doing in your life is fine. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all together. You just have to be willing to try to be a better person. And you good. So thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Good night.